This is
These are always exciting, these late day recordings, because you never know.
yeah,
I feel so frazzled by the end of the day.
me too. I don't know. I can't keep anything in my brain. It's just whatever. This is why I love to record on the weekends because I'm all like fresh, and then if we record on a weeknight, I'm like,
I
Anywho,
had to record for those guys Tuesday morning at like 6 a.m. It was
oh
insane.
my God! All right, here we go. Ready?
How's it go?
Hey, you want to watch some TV or something?
Skip it. Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Nothing but foul language and toilet humor.
I'm disgusted and repulsed and I can't look away.
I need these things! I need these things! Tell me, do you want to go? We're stopping it on the color line.
Oh, no way, Jose.
This just in, go to hell!
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Hello, friends and listeners. You've got Watch Skip Plus. We are a movie review podcast with a lifestyle twist. That twist is that we give you bonus reviews after we review a new streaming and theatrical film. If you're first time listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please follow, like, subscribe. Also, do the same if you're watching us on video. Spotify is our home, but we also have our YouTube channel, so click all the things. My name is Jose, also known as Cupcake, and you can see it's Mondays. There's a dinosaur. Speaking of dinosaurs, my co-host, WillDaBeast. Mike, how are you doing?
Yep. I'm doing okay. So it's the Monday after the holiday weekend. Those of you who are watching, that's when we recorded this. So yeah, we're a little bit discombobulated after a few days of fun, but it was a fun weekend. How about you?
Yeah, crashing from the 3-day weekend bubble to work
Monday.
to the work bubble is absolutely awful. That's why I'm wearing the shirt Mondays with a dinosaur.
There you
Speaking
go.
of which, what are we reviewing?
We are reviewing Jurassic World Rebirth.
Should have been called Reboot, but we don't name these things. Yeah, or something. All right, here we go. Jurassic World Rebirth. This is the 7th film.
7.
So we get the original trilogy, JP, Jurassic Park, JP The Lost World, both directed by Steven Spielberg, both written by David Koepp, who actually wrote this movie as well. And then Jurassic Park 3 was kind of a departure. It was a 90-minute horror film, basically, which, I don't know, people rag on it, but I'll tell you, 3 is much better than the next trilogy that we got from Colin Trevorrow, which was basically Jurassic World. Not bad, exciting, kind of fun. Apparently you can run away from Tyrannosaurs in heels, whatever. And then we got Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom, which is widely regarded as one of the stinkiest, poopiest summer films, maybe. And then we got Dominion, which I don't even want to go there. They reinserted the Grants. Jeff Goldblum came back. There was some shenanigans about like a DNA baby, and there was
The clone baby.
tamed velociraptors, and I don't know. It was
The magic
And
hand.
now- the magic hand. And now we come to Jurassic World Rebirth, the 7th film, thankfully without the Velociraptor tamer and, Miss Ron Howard's daughter. At any rate, this is, as I mentioned, written by David Koepp. David Koepp has been on our show before because he wrote Presence for Steven Soderbergh, also wrote Black Bag for Steven Soderbergh, but his films that he has screenwritten have made something like $1.6 billion, right? So Spider-Man, Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones. He's even directed his own films, Secret Window, Trigger Effect, Premium Rush. Don't sleep on Premium Rush. Pretty fantastic. Joseph Gordon-Levitt on a bike. Better than Quicksilver, let me tell you. Um, David Kep, what do we think about him, Mike?
Yeah, we talked about him on Presents. We like him a lot. When he's on, he's on. He can make somebody on a bike exciting. Even that
Yeah.
scene, that infamous scene in Mission Impossible when he's coming down, and if you see how that's written when he breaks into the Pentagon secret, that is meticulously written exactly as it was written. And gosh, he's just a great writer.
He wrote Raimi's Spider-Man. I mean, Google the man. He's fantastic. We love him. We should also mention he's a novelist. He's written 2 novels. The first one was called Cold Storage. Caption here if I'm wrong. And then the other one was called Aurora. This will come back into play when I mention one of the other cast members. Our director is Gareth Edwards. I really love Gareth Edwards. You may look at his films and be like, meh, but it's his ingenuity that is pretty fantastic. So Edwards is from London, and he created a short for the Sci-Fi London Festival, one of those contests where you had to create a short in 48 hours, and he actually won that contest. And then eventually what he did was, with a crew of 5 people, I'm just going to keep doing this like all podcasts, but with a crew of 5 people in 2010, he did a little indie sci-fi film called Monsters, which was just fantastic. 5 people, visual effects created from shit that he bought at at a Radio Shack. And this movie, like, put him on the map, essentially. It also starred my future husband, Scoot McNairy. I have a lot of them. But it was from that, basically, that Legendary said, we had to have you for the American reboot of Godzilla in 2014. And that was the one that starred Aaron Taylor Johnson and Breaking Bad Dad, that guy, Bryan Cranston. Yeah. And, whatever. She's so pretty. She's an Olsen girl. See, I'm telling you, we record on
We're
a weekday.
discombobulated.
Our memories. Yeah, we're totally discombobulated. He would then use that ingenuity as well and film his next film, The Creator, on a Sony FX3, basically. It is a prosumer, meaning professional consumer camera that you can pick up at a Best Buy. Granted, it costs $4,000, but he essentially shot the film on this camera, then did special effects for it, then did reshoots. The film looks like it cost $180 million, and he did it for $80 million. So when I say this man has an ingenuity about him, he certainly does. And we should note for the record that this movie was initially to be directed by David Leitch, who directed Bullet Train, the first film that we ever reviewed on Watch Skip Plus. I'm a huge fan of David Leitch. They parted ways, the studio, over creative differences, and in order to meet this July 2nd release date, they hired Gareth Evans, who obviously has done special effects and stuff. What's your opinion on Gareth Evans? Did you ever see The Creator? What did you think of that movie?
Yeah, I've seen all of his films, and I'm a fan. I remember when Monsters dropped at South by Southwest. It was all the talk of the town. As soon as I could, I got my eyes on it. And yeah, I was pretty blown away for what it was. I know a lot of people were underwhelmed because, I mean, it's very much an introspective look at what people go through when a tragedy or a big epidemic type of thing occurs. So I thought it was really well done and looks astounding. The Creator, again, looks amazing. All of his films look great. The issue with a lot of his films come down to writing and plotting, but which isn't always his fault, right? But they always look spectacular. And I pretty much will always watch his films because I've kind of loved, to a point, kind of a love-hate relationship with Godzilla, because again, it's so much like Monster. I mean, where you're following these characters and Godzilla's in the background doing all the destruction. You don't see it up front. So at first that bothered me, but the more you watch the movie, the more it makes sense. So he's really good at doing what he does. The Creator does that similar type of thing where you're kind of seeing this world from within instead of from outside. But Rogue One, helped create Andor, one of the best Star Wars television shows. So yeah, pretty much a genius
Yeah.
in my book.
We should mention Edwards did direct Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and he
Mhm.
has his beginnings basically in doing visual effects. Like he did it for a lot of documentaries. There's something called Heroes and Villains on the BBC that he did. He also collaborates with Chris Weitz. He and his brother wrote American Pie. Yeah. So we've got our director, we've got our writer. We should mention these characters were initially created Jurassic Park by novelist Michael Crichton. Crichton has written books like Andromeda Strain, Disclosure, Airframe. I love that, and I really wish it had been made
Oh
into a movie.
yeah.
It hasn't yet. It was supposed to with Gina Davis. Timeline, Rising Sun, all of these have been adapted basically. Congo, I think I mentioned that. Sphere. Um,
That's so bad and good.
Amy, love Michael Crichton. He also created ER, by the way, interestingly enough, and wrote Twister, of all movies, with his wife, Anne Marie Crichton. Enough about my yakking. Do you love Michael Crichton? Have you read his books?
Yeah, Jurassic Park, the original book, I read it right after I saw the movie because I mean, Jurassic Park holds a special place in my mind and my life. The book was astounding. Lost World, the second book's not as good, and the film is diminishing returns. But gosh, the first book is quite different. It's really intense and scary and gory. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Crichton. I remember reading Timeline and then seeing the movie thinking, oh man, this is shit. A lot of his movies are just don't pay off the same way. Congo's right for a remake, honestly.
If they followed the book, Congo would have
Yeah.
been good. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to our DP, John Madison. Do not Google his critique on Ridley Scott and Gladiator 2. He had to walk that back. We won't talk about that. But anyway, John Madison is the DP here. I mentioned Gladiator 2 collaborated with Ridley Scott on several films. Gladiator, Gladiator 2, his dramas, Matchstick Men, Kingdom of Heaven, and then, of course, one of my favorites, Hannibal, which I know people poo-pooed, but I love that movie. I love going back to that movie. Madison started doing music videos, most notably the Peekaboo video by Susie and the Banshees. Peekaboo, peekaboo. And then, of course, the famous John Mayberry directed video for Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. I'll save you all from singing it. He's also done music videos for Prince. He actually directed a film called Plunkett and McLean for one Jake Scott. That would be Ridley's son, and that's the connection there, folks. He was nominated for his cinematography for Gladiator with the Oscars as well as the BAFTAs, and then he would get a second nomination for Joel Schumacher's Phantom of the Opera. Interestingly enough, he has definitely done superhero movies before. He's lensed X-Men First Class, as well as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He's worked with Guy Ritchie on 2 films, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Oh.
Poopy movies. No, I liked Man from U.N.C.L.E. Pan, 47 Ronin, and then the films, of course, that we talked about with Ridley Scott. Great cinematographer. What do you think about John Madison? You like his films?
Yeah, they all look really good. Like, not all of them are good, but they look good. He knows how to take popcorn films and add kind of a dark sheen to it. And so, yeah, I really definitely has a look if you watch all those films.
You know, honestly, his work with Ridley Scott is probably my favorite, really. Our music is by Alexander Desplat. But don't you worry, folks. The Jurassic Park theme by John Williams is all throughout this movie. No one can forget those familiar strains, right? When it starts, it's like, watch out for the raptors. No, I know. But Desplat, he's born in Paris, French composer. I mean, this man has worked with everybody, okay? He's collaborated multiple times with Wes Anderson, as well as other French filmmakers. Jacques Audiard, he's scored a bunch of films for him. Chris Weitz, David Yates, Roman Polanski. So I think he won an Oscar for Grand Budapest Hotel for Best Original Score, as well as The Shape of Water for Guillermo del Toro. He's also scored a bunch of Luc Besson films. I mean, this man has beautiful lyrical scores. Love him.
Hmm.
What's your feelings on Desplat?
Very dramatic. Reminds me almost like Philip Glass in the dramatics in his
Yeah, yeah.
scores. So yeah,
Very
big
nice.
fan. Even though I found this kind of a little bit weaker on the side. I don't know how you felt about the score. Maybe it's just it's so different from the Jurassic Park theme, which when they do play it in the film, almost sounds sped up and changed slightly, a little bit different instrumentation. So I
Definitely.
don't know. It felt weird, kind of
I
splicing
did
that
like
in
this. It
with
was
the
adventurous. It felt
Yeah.
like John Williams light.
Oh, kind of. Yeah.
With a little bit more of an urgency. All right, let's jump into this cast because it's definitely really loaded and we could take forever on this, but I'm going to try to go through this really quickly. Our star is Scarlett Johansson.
Starlet.
Ooh, many people call her Scarlett Johansson. So this is super weird. A lot of our cast has actually done music before. So whether you remember or not, Scarlett Johansson has had a little tiny bit
Oh,
of a
yeah.
music career. But we all know her, Black Widow, the MCU. But lest we forget, came to our attention as a child actress in a film called Manny and Lo, and that caught the attention of a bunch of different directors. It was about two girls who basically leave their foster home. And then she came to attention to everybody as a young actress in the film The Horse Whisperer. And then from there, she kind of baked in her sort of like indie stuff, Ghost World, and then Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, The Girl with the Pearl Earring. She would go on to work with like Woody Allen in several films. She was in The Prestige for Christopher Nolan. Then she ended up kind of getting suckered into like this like rom-com kind of stuff. So like In Good Company, if you remember that one. The Perfect Score, which is kind of like a teen heist romance kind of thing. He's just not that into you. And then eventually, you know, we've got the MCU, and then she has her dramatic cred. She's one of the few actresses to have been nominated both for Best Actress and then Best Supporting Actress. And so that year, I believe it was Marriage Story, which she had done. She was nominated for Best Actress with, what's his name? Adam Driver. And then it was Best Supporting Actress in Jojo Rabbit, where she played his mother. Thoughts on Miss Johansson? She's got a skincare line too. She does a lot of philanthropy. She's, you know, just putting aside the sheen of working with the Woody Allen. She's been on Broadway too. So is there
Yeah.
nothing she can do? Like, how do you feel about Scarlett?
She does it all, honestly. I mean, you almost forget that she's a really good actress because she's been in the Black Widow world for a decade. That you go back and you see In the Skin and some of her old stuff, you know, Match
my God,
Point,
In the
Woody
Skin.
Allen. And you're like,
Under
damn,
the Skin.
she's a good actress. Like, yeah, In the Skin,
Yes.
right? She's so
Yeah.
good. And you forget that sometimes. She did this little film with John Travolta where she played his daughter, I believe. The movie's kind of soppy, but she's really good in it. And I remember thinking, wow, this girl's going to go somewhere. And then right around the same time, she did the Lost in Translation, and that blew me away too. So you forget that she can really act because she's been so sucked into the franchise world.
Love Song for Bobby Long is the
Yes,
movie you were talking
that's the
about with
one with
John
John
Travolta.
Travolta.
Yeah, definitely. Know who else has a music career? Mahershala Ali.
Oh, really?
He's appeared on a couple rap albums, and has a couple studio albums. Corner Ensemble in 2006 and Curbside Service in 2007. But
That's cool.
Mahershala Ali, actually, he was born as, I hope I say this right, Mahershala Hashabaz Gilmore, and then he shortened it to Mahershala Hashabaz Ali. And then, true story, folks, okay? When they couldn't fit his name on the poster for A Place Beyond the Pines, they were like, yeah, you got to shorten that name. And so he shortened it to Marhershala Ali, which is so weird. Hey, we can't fit your name on the poster. You've got to cut it down. Bizarre. But many may know him. He started in television. He was on the show Crossing Jordan, Threat Matrix, came to fame in the 4400. I forget that he is in these shows, right? Like I have seen these shows and I forget that he's in there. I forgot that he was on House of Cards. I forgot that he was in Luke Cage, okay? But the reason why we love him is he's not only a great actor, he's super gorgeous, but he also is, like Scarlett Johansson, has been one of the few black actors to win in the same category Oscars. So he won for Green Book, which I think was a lot of people kind of poo-pooed that movie, and then it won the Oscars. And then the other film that he won the Oscar for was for Moonlight for Best Supporting Actor. Ali is the man who would be Blade if it ever gets freaking made. But he has been in a ton of stuff. I mean, look at this. Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons, the Hunger Game movies that they split into two, Free State of Jones, Hidden Figures, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Alita Battle Angel. I forgot he was in that. The Eternals. He has an uncredited voice cameo in that. Leave the World Behind, which I thought was fantastic. Yeah, so love that guy. What do you think about Mr. Ali?
Yeah, same as you. I love him and everything. Moonlight, he blew me away in that. His versatility to like be rugged and kind of got that gangster vibe, but also being sensitive. So yeah, I really that movie is when I was like, wow, this guy has it. And as you said, you go back and you see him pop up in these other movies, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's always had it. But he's always been in these smaller roles. So it's been awesome to see him in the last decade really take on big meaty roles.
Yeah. Speaking of recording artists,
Big meaty
again,
roles, God Lord.
ha 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 ha! I love it. Yeah, man. Okay. Speaking of recording artists, again, we have Jonathan Bailey. He's openly gay. For a time, while we were before we started this podcast, I was like, has he come out as gay? Like, everybody knows he's gay, right? He's gay. Say gay again. Anyway, Jonathan Bailey, openly gay, started on stage, basically West End, London. Did you know this? He originated the role of Tim Price in Duncan Sheik's American Psycho. So I have a recording of him because I have the original London recording of Matt Smith, who played Patrick Bateman in the premiere of the West End American Psycho. But he's appeared on stage in plays like Othello, Richard III, musicals The Last 5 Years, as well as something called Cock. That's right, folks. It's called Cock. But I would actually like to act in this. If any of my local community theater picks up this play, but Cock is this play about a gay man who has this sudden identity crisis when he falls in love with a woman. Whoa.
Oh.
Would that not make him bisexual? Anyway, it is what it is. But he started in television and BBC. We're talking about Disney UK's Groove High, where he also did some singing, and then Leonardo, a very little scene series where he played a young Leonardo da Vinci. That's where he came to fame. Also, Crashing, which was a series that was written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, kind of like a Demented Friends is what they call it, a Twisted Friends. But of course, shot to fame with Bridgerton on Netflix. You mentioned John Bailey's name, everybody just says, oh my God, have you seen Bridgerton? And I'm like, no, I'm so gay and I haven't. And then Fellow Travelers, again, lots of like gay sex, him and Matt Bomer, okay, two gays on Showtime, Fellow Travelers. And then of course, now when you mention John Bailey, the only thing anybody can say is Wicked.
Wicked.
And I say Tight Pants. But he played Fiyero in Wicked, which I'm all excited to see the second one, but I have to tell you, I've never listened to the musical and I've never seen the musical, right? The trailer ruins a major scene in the second film, and I was so mad that I watched it. So everybody avoid the second trailer. How do you like John Bailey, Tight Pants aside? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's solid. I'd love to see him in some of this Broadway stuff, but yeah, I think he's solid. I mean, this whole cast. I mean, what have we been saying? Good, great, solid. I mean,
yeah,
compared
really,
to
really
last week's episode, Megan. Yeah, this cast could kick Megan's cast ass.
Moving on to our next star, Rupert Friend. Sorry, that was my Allison Williams imitation. So our next star is Rupert Friend, British, started on the stage. Believe it or not, collaborates a lot with Wes Anderson. I didn't realize he was in all of these Wes Anderson films. French Dispatch, Asteroid City, and then the shorts The Swan and The Ratcatcher. Many will know him as Peter Quinn on Homeland. I was obsessed with his character and really wanted Claire Danes' character to like get it on with him, and it never happened. He died, and I was so angry. Interestingly enough, he almost quit acting, although he had early roles in like The Libertine. That was with one of his first movies opposite Johnny Depp, and then he ended up in Cherie opposite Michelle Pfeiffer. He's naked in it, folks. And then The Boy in Striped Pajama, he actually almost gave up acting, but then he turned it around and ended up in a film called Startup, which is really great with Jack O'Connell. Hitman Agent 47. Say what you will about it. I love it. He did a lot of his own stunts, folks. And then he landed Homeland. He's also appeared in A Simple Favor. And then here he is. Now, I had mentioned before that David Koepp was a novelist. So believe it or not, Friend was asked by screenwriter David Koepp to narrate the audiobook of his debut novel, Cold Storage. So maybe he thought of Rupert when he thought of this. And by the way, I'm going to say this, but when I watched this movie, I was like, well, this is interesting. There's actually 3 men who could be James Bond in this film. So I'm thinking Marhershala Ali could be James Bond. We're going to get to another actor, Ed Skrein, who could be James Bond as well. But Rupert Friend, the whole time I was like, this man can be James Bond, okay? And interestingly enough, folks, he's actually been in the conversation. Each time Bond has stepped down, Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig, they have approached Rupert Friend for an audition. So he has been in the conversation, which is interesting. I would love for him to play Bond. What was the one movie where he was like super fucking creepy? And he was like all sexual, and I was like, oh, he's so disgusting, but I'd let him creep up on me. Oh, Companion. Wasn't he the Russian guy in Companion? Yeah. Totally. Okay, we might as well move to him. I talked about him, Ed Skrein. Ed Skrein, English actor. He also is a rapper, folks, so he's put out a rap album as well. Many will know him as Dario Naharis from Game of Thrones, but his role was recast the next season, and it was played by Michelle Huisman after that. But many will know him not only from that, but also from stepping into Jason Statham's shoes, I guess, assassin shoes, as the transporter in the Transporter Refueled. His dad was played by Ray Stevenson. They do not look alike. I don't know where that came from, but whatever. Guilty pleasure film. He was also the lead villain in Deadpool, if you remember him. He's cropped up in films like Midway, as well as Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2. If you watch the director's cut, there is a really sexy scene with him and tentacles. It's very crazy. What do you think about Ed Skrein? I think he could play James Bond too. Like, I think he's got an interesting.
Yeah, he is quite good. He's got a really interesting look. He was in Maleficent as well. Played a character called Borat in that. Yeah, he's got a really cool look to him, and yeah, I've been impressed with everything I've seen him in. Definitely, he had some shoes to fill with the Transporter series. I don't know if I thought he was that great, but I think he was one of the high points of the Rebel Moon film. I really liked him and I had never seen the second one because I'm on the opposite of you. I'm not a huge fan of that series, but I thought he was actually really quite good in it. So
I know director's cuts at least 3 times. I love them. He's great as Admiral Noble. Definitely. Okay, our last actor. And let me tell you, folks, all I could do was stare at this man's legs through the entire fucking movie. I'm so sorry. Like, Scott was like, stop mentioning his legs to me. Like, watch the fucking movie. Because I would, like, nudge him every time. I would nudge him every time at the Wicklow game. What is he looking at? I mean, he didn't bare his feet. But anyway, we're talking about Manuel Garcia-Rulfo. He is a Mexican actor. He's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But like I said, he's wearing these like swimming shorts or whatever, and I just could not stop staring at his hairy legs. They were the sexiest thing ever. I was like, Tyrannosaur, his hot legs, Tyrannosaur, his hot legs. Many will know him as the lead in the Netflix show The Lincoln Lawyer, based on the novels by Michael Connelly. He previously came to fame as the Mexican cowboy. There's no other way to say it, in The Magnificent Seven, the remake by Antoine Fuqua. And then he's also cropped up on television shows like From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. He was in Murder on the Orient Express. His character actually in the novel went by the name of Antonio Foscarelli, and they adapted the role for him. Kenneth Branagh did in the movie, and he plays a character called Beniamino Marquez. I'm so confused. But anyway, he was great in it. You also see him in other films like Six Underground, Sweet Girl, and A Man Called Otto. And he played Pedro Paramo, which was the directorial debut of my favorite cinematographer, Rodrigo Prieto. So what do you think about Mr. Manuel Garcia-Rulfo?
Yeah, I like him. He must have a friendship going with Tom Hanks because he's been in like the last 2 or 3 Hanks films, and when he shows up, I think he's really good. He's in Greyhound, and I know A Man Called Otto, but yeah, when he shows up in those films, I'm like, and I kind of like those post Tom Hanks movies. I don't think they get talked about very much. Those post 2020 films are actually kind of decent.
Anyway, all right. I am dying to hear your thoughts on this, because this, not unpredictably, is doing well at the box office. Who doesn't love dinosaurs, folks? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? Spoiler-free thoughts on Jurassic Park Rebirth?
Yeah, well, I've got to go back to, I've talked about it before, but Jurassic Park on my 14th birthday is one of those seminal core memories. I saw it twice, like in the same week, like back to back. It's just one of those films that changed cinema for me. I'm from Utah, and Utah's known as Dinosaur Land. We actually have several full sculptures of dinosaurs that have been found here in Utah, and we've got amusement parks, and it's just always been something I've been obsessed with my entire childhood. So when I got the chance to see Jurassic Park on the screen, I just fell in love with it. Unfortunately, we've had, each film has kind of been worse than the one before, except for 3. I actually, if I was to rate these, I would put 3 right behind Jurassic Park. And I kind of feel like this is in a line with 3. It feels kind of like a reboot, a spin-off from the original, where unfortunately, we don't get anyone from the original, whereas the third, we get one. We get Sam Neill's character, I believe, pops up in that. But we don't get anybody.
We get a mention of a character.
Yeah, we get a mention, but there's literally, it feels like a spin-off. I mean, we could have just called this Jurassic Rebirth. It doesn't even need to be attached to the Jurassic World, because as far as I'm concerned, besides the first film, the last 2 have been pretty atrocious. I mean, not focusing on the adventure, not focusing on the thrills or the horror or the dinosaurs, focusing on ridiculous things like locusts and cloning little girls. Just no need for that. It just didn't work. So this was refreshing to me. I actually quite enjoyed this. As soon as it started, I instantly got "This is Jurassic Park 3" vibes, and I dug it. I mean, it's 2 separate movies smushed together. We got a family, and then these experts going off to get, whatever they're doing. But again, it's like 3. We're getting people to go back to the island for a reason. It's just action, adventure, thrills, suspense, and it's too long. Anyone watching this, you're going to hear me say that over and over again. It doesn't need to be 2.5 hours long, or however, 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was 2 hours and 15 minutes. Come on, folks. Jurassic 3 was, I think, 95 minutes. That was...
Yeah, some parts with the family could have been cut. We get enough to like them pretty quickly. We don't need as much, especially between the father and the daughter's boyfriend. There just wasn't much character building in the series after the first film. We just kept getting the same characters showing up in different stupid sci-fi scenarios. However, it is kind of flawed. There is, like I said, some pacing issues. at moments. And you kind of just like one set piece to the next. Oh, here's the water dinosaur section. Oh, here's the air dinosaur section. Oh, here's the big end. We know what happens in the big end. They're going to get the big meanie. So it's like it's very predictable in each adventure to try to get their DNA of each of these dinosaurs, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about the plot? We get lots of cool dinosaur action, and that's what I'm here for. That's what you're here for. But these aren't your regular dinosaurs. These are like mutants, which I don't know. I kind of feel I don't know why we need to do too much. The Jurassic World series is almost like, let's do too much. We can't just have regular cool dinosaurs. Oh no, we have to make mutants with 6 arms and big skull heads and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of silly, but the thrills are still there. It's still fun. It's still exciting, but it would have been nice if it was that Jurassic Park 3 length, that like 90, 100 minutes. That would have been perfect. But still, as it is, I think it's probably the best in the Jurassic World series, which I kind of don't know why they're calling it Jurassic World. Again, it should just be called Jurassic Rebirth. This is the Jurassic series. Who cares if it's Park or World? I don't feel like it has anything really tied to that because it does bounce 5 years after the last movie, Dominion. Rest in peace. Nobody needs to watch you again. What an awful excuse to bring all of your best actors back to such a piece of shit script. This is not that. There's just not much to it besides.
It was too convoluted. Like, I mean, listen, I love world building, but it was too much.
Too much.
And the locusts and the DNA.
Yeah, who cares about locusts? The freaking clone daughter. Nobody cares about that stuff. We just want people getting stalked or stalking dinosaurs, and that's what we got. It was fun. It was adventurous. The music, at times, I was yearning for more of that John Williams vibe. But, overall, fun. Good job. I'm going to give this probably like a soft watch. It's not immediate go to the theaters, but it's better than the last 2 films. If you love dinosaurs, you're going to go see this. And there's lots of them, and it's fun, and it's thrilling, and you jump, and it's scary. So that's what I have to say.
I saw it in 3D. Of course I did. And
of course you did.
I have to tell you that, like, it was weird. I was expecting the 3D to be kind of awesome, and it kind of was just okay.
Meh.
Because I think that the cinematography lends itself to being 3D anyway with its scale. So 2 other questions, and then I'll move on to my spoiler-free thoughts. 1, would you see this again in the theaters?
I've only ever gone to see the first one in the theaters twice, so I don't know if I would.
Okay. I mean, do you have an urge to see it again? Do you think it was that good, or?
I'll see it again. I'll own it, just like I own all the rest of them. It's just nice to see a movie in this series that's good again, and it's entertaining. And I did like the character building between Scarlett and Ali's character. I really liked what they had going on, their relationship, and I thought they were really quite good in this. It reminded me of William H. Macy and Tia Leone in Jurassic Park 3. If you like Jurassic Park 3, I think you're going to like this. If you don't, this ain't your vibe. If you love the last 2, then I don't know what planet you're on.
So there's a criticism of this film, and even Gareth Edwards himself, in the weirdest director's interviews I've ever read, he sort of said, like, I mean, there's not really much you can do with these dinosaur films after all that we've seen and done, right? Did you feel that way with this, that this was just kind of predictable, no new ideas, this is just rehashing of stuff? Even when a director admits that, do you think?
I'm such a dinosaur fan that it kind of bothered me that he wrote that into the script, that the whole world is so done with dinosaurs that no one's ever going to go to this island. It's been 5 years and we're just sick of them. That bugged me. But when we got to the meat and the potatoes of this is the mission, this is what you're doing, I dug that. I didn't really like where it went with the world building. Again, it felt like we could definitely put something else in that 5-year gap between this and Dominion if you wanted to do something different. You really don't have to follow any of these characters again. So it really feels like it's a one-off that you could kind of take or leave. And I think that they should just continue to do little spin-offs like this where people go and adventure into the old islands. And I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so my spoiler-free thoughts on Jurassic Park Rebirth. Huh. How can I say this delicately? I mean, listen, this is why you go to the movies, right? I mean, it's big adventure, it's big special effects, it's thrilling, big screen, big noise, gorgeous actors, that guy's legs, damn it. Hello. Um and some of the sequences are really good, right? This is very much in the spirit of the first Jurassic Park movie and the novel. Even I think takes a segment that was in the book, was purported to be in the first film, but they repurposed it here, the raft sequence. Um, and all of that is fine. It's basic for me, like you, it's a soft watch. Okay. I did have fun with this. I enjoyed this. I did like the world building. The film, when it starts, there is a lot of machine gun efficient exposition catch up. We learn that the dinosaurs basically have been coexisting, but that they really stick to this band around the equator. Apparently, this band, folks, is 500 miles north or south of the equator. Huge fucking band, okay? But apparently they said that like the temperature mimics the Mesozoic era, whatever, the era that they lived in, whatever, it's fine. And you get that kind of cool visual of the one older dinosaur that they're trying to like lift out of like the Brooklyn Bridge, the lake that it's sort of like sitting in. Um and yeah, it's pretty much adventurous. It reminds me of Congo, the actual novel, because it almost feels like there are two teams racing towards the same sort of goal. And you mentioned this before. When we say the two teams, we're talking about the mercenaries, basically, because they're hired to get this DNA for Rupert Friend. And then the family that gets sort of like swept up into all of this. And so with that, the fact that like the family and them get separated, I felt like I was watching two different movies. And its biggest flaw is when I walked out of the film, the thing that hit me the most, that was resonating in my head, was, tell me you're referencing Steven Spielberg, his filmography, and the original Jurassic Park without telling me you're referencing Jurassic Park, Spielberg, his filmography. David Koepp, I love you. You sleptwalk through this. I mean, it reminded me in a way of like Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant felt like, Alien's greatest hits. This feels like Jurassic Park's greatest hits, and specifically the first film and the second film. It's almost as if they took the highlights of those and then just sort of repurposed things, right? So we get this big sequence with the family. And much like the Tyrannosaur paddock attack, where they're scrambling and they're hiding behind these cars and the dinosaurs moving in and the cars are turning and they have to move with the cars so that they don't see them, the sailboat sequence is the same thing. And sure enough, the sailboat turns upside down and they have to scramble and get on top of it and do this. And there's all this stuff. And then they're referencing Jaws, because then Scarlett Johansson has to shoot the thing and she's hanging off the whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. And then even the later sequences, very like The Lost World, right? They're in the jungle and you see some of the little dinosaurs that were in there, but it's the family. And then now the boyfriend and the father have to like act, being paternalistic and trying to shepherd them through all the dangers of the Jurassic Park. It just, I felt like it was just repurposing all of that stuff for a cash grab. And so as exciting and as fun as some of the sequences are, I don't know. I just felt like it was a big cash grab. Unlike you, when Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali start to talk about their shared mercenary private security background and how they each lost people and he has a loss with his kid, I was like, forget that. Just get to the action, because that really slowed things down. And then, when the family separates and then there's all that dynamic with the boyfriend and the daughter, I'm like, what are we doing? More dinosaurs, eat people. Come on. So it's a soft watch because I just feel like Kep was like, oh, I'll take the payday check. I'll write you a script. You wanted adventures? You want it to be like 1 and 2? I'll do it. I'll give you all the cinematic Spielberg dinosaur jizz you want. And I don't know. I it felt like
I felt like
a
it was
reboot.
more of a love song, right? It's more of an homage. You don't think? You don't feel like he was homaging?
Well, he definitely was homaging and
There's a lot.
referencing a lot.
Kept more.
There's a ton of Spielberg shit in there.
Yeah,
Like
that's
everything
all
from
Kept,
E.T.
yeah.
to Jaws. When I say E.T., you know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about it in the spoilers or
Yeah,
whatever.
we'll talk about
But
this.
I just felt like he kept sleptwalk through this. And to some extent, if you read those interviews with
He
Gareth
did.
Edwards, he sleptwalked through it too. So it's a fun theatrical experience, but I don't know, it's a ride we've been on before. And give me a series or something. I think I'm done with movies.
I think
Jurassic Park.
continuing to do these one-offs where we follow people, again, we've got to spice things up a little bit besides just wash, rinse, repeat each sequence. Use
Yes.
3 sequence. I mean, we kind of ragged on the Mission Impossible movie for kind of doing the same thing, but there was only 2 sequences in that compared to we had several, at least 4 or 5 good chase sequences with different dinosaurs. So we had enough variety to scratch the itch that we all wished we would have got with the last 2 movies. So whereas I know some people, a friend of mine thinks that Fallen Kingdom, he thinks that one is like this great campy, purposely campy sci-fi B movie that if had cheesy effects and was released in the 80s or 90s, we'd all be loving it. But I just don't see it that way. I know a lot of people think that it's
Fallen Kingdom was some bullshit. That was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, again, because it almost felt like they took screenplays that were already like sci-fi screenplays and threw it into Jurassic World. That's kind of what.
I think we've seen it all at this point. They can't give
Yeah.
us anything new. I mean, listen, I thought they were gonna go this way with Dominion, that like the girl was gonna start like growing scales and become half dinosaur. Let's see that. Why not?
We could,
but
I mean, they created this in a way that's smart enough that they can continue it, they can do more, or they can go back because there's a 5-year gap between both films. This one
Sure.
technically takes place in 2027. So, I mean, they're going to give us more. We all know it. This thing made like $340 million worldwide. So we're definitely going to get more movies. So now it's just like, what are we going to do? What are they going to do? Like, why was this a spectacle? I think it's because there was a promise of it being a throwback to Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 3, and it really is. It is that to almost a fault.
it is.
like you mentioned.
It definitely has the tone of 3, but there's just so many references to 1 and 2 that it just felt like Kep was recycling himself and referencing himself. And when a good writer starts to do that, you have to think twice about it. And
Yeah, that's a
that's-
paycheck
yeah.
for sure.
we should also add that anytime an incidental character is introduced, they might as well be wearing a red shirt like in Star Trek. Like it's very clear who's not going to make it out of this.
And you knew who was going to get killed each time someone got killed. It was obvious. No question. There was no
It was like,
question here.
oh, you're so cute and spunky. You're dinosaur food. Like,
Well, there's only 2 black people left. I wonder which one is going to be the one to go.
oh, it's always the help. Anyway,
So,
sorry.
the movie is-
All right. So soft watch for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did I just freeze? Jesus God.
You freeze at a really cool smile. Some good
I was
freeze
like,
frame.
anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Soft watch for me. Soft watch for you.
Is there much to spoil? I mean,
I don't think so. But listen, if you have not seen any of the Jurassic World movies or Jurassic Park films, or you haven't seen Jurassic Rebirth, quite honestly, we can't spoil much because you've seen it all.
You've seen
When
it
we
all.
mention these things, you're going to be like, okay. So in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I felt like I was watching 2 movies when they got separated, the family and them. I was like, what am I watching? And the obnoxious boyfriend who is he's so stupid that I
I hated him.
there was a part of me that was like, please let there be a scenario where like the father is supposed to save the boyfriend, but he doesn't. Like that would give the movie some edge, okay? And listen, I get that they both have loss and stuff, and there's that whole scene where they're bearing each other's soul on the boat. Which, by the way, that scene was so boring to me that I was watching the lighting. Whatever Madison did in that particular scene, because they're on a boat, these shafts of light, you see them like moving across like their faces while they're talking. And I was like, God, that's amazing. I wonder how he did that. Like diffuse, like, you know, K10's outside, like through the window. Like, could they have put lights underneath? I hated that scene where they were talking to each other. But the worst part is it doesn't pay off for anything. It really doesn't. I mean, we knew that they were going to self-sacrifice anyway because of their characters. And it would have been edgier and better if Ali died. Like,
Yeah. Why did they not kill him?
then
That bugged me.
then that scene would have fucking paid off, right?
It would have.
But
You could tell that.
but
was
instead, it's like, oh, I got the flare. Oh, he's in the water. Get him.
how did he live? I mean, that's a reshoot. I'm sure
He did it.
They showed it to people who were like, "Oh, I don't like this. I'm in the mall and I'm going to give this an F because I wanted the black guy to live." So that's what they
Yeah.
did. They gave us him
Exactly.
living, which is, I just, yeah. There's
And you have to
there's a lot of
you have to know. And like I said before, the Jonathan Bailey character, you know, it's a throwaway line. He was like, "Oh, I did my internship with Dr. Alan Grant," and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, that's it.
That was like the only mention. Yeah. But what was the other thing I was going to say? Rupert Friend. It becomes very clear that he's sort of the Gennaro character who's the lawyer in Jurassic Park and the Dennis Nedry character. Like we all know he's trying to do something nefarious, and that's why the DNA samples matter over like the girl or whatever. So just to set it up. So basically, it is illegal to go into these dinosaur bands where all the dinosaurs have gone, right? Apparently, in the 5 years that in between Dominion and then this, we coexisted with the dinosaurs, but they were like, fuck these humans. And they like basically went into their own area away from us, which is kind
Why?
of weird.
Why did they
right?
get the movie about that? I want the movie about the
So
5 years. That's what I want.
that would be interesting. Like, let me see the integration of it. Like
Yeah.
dinosaurs attacking a city and how do they stop
People riding
that-
dinosaurs. I want to see
that-
this shit.
I know. I want to know what happened. So there's a huge jump, but basically because they're in this band, people are not allowed to go into this band, and yet the family is sailing through this band. And it's like, okay, well,
How and why?
why, right? And then
And
it's
he
all
gives
like,
no explanation as to why they're there.
well, he said something like, I had done the sailing trip when I was a kid, so I thought I'd bring the family and then bond with the boyfriend who turns out to be this lazy shit who doesn't know anything about sailing or whatever. And then they're all like, what are those fins? What do you think those fins are? You're not supposed to be in this area. So it's illegal, right? And so the whole setup is they are going essentially into these bands to get the DNA, but they can't report it. They had to be because you're going to break a law. Let's learn about the process under which they created these laws. Like, what happened? What was the incident that started this ban of hunting dinosaurs, right? That's more interesting. But anyway, so while they're on the ship and all those other Spinosaurs that have mutated are attacking the ship, so they get the DNA from who they want, the big whale dinosaur. But then these other dinosaurs try to attack the ship. And when the girl goes to radio it in, Rupert Friend stops her because they can't send out a signal saying, hey, we're here in this illegal area trying to get DNA. And so she gets like knocked off the boat and she's like, help me. And he sort of just stands there and waits for her to like drop off or whatever. And then of course because he didn't lift a finger, she's like, he tried to kill me. I mean, we all know
she
he's a
was pissed.
scoundrel, right? But it would have been edgier if he walked over there and like stamped on her hand or something, right? Because when they meet up later in the film, you know, she's all like, I'm gonna kill you or whatever, and he's got the gun, and they're like, dude, he's got the gun, like, back off or whatever. That was so weird. But of course he gets eaten, thank God. Because that's how he should get eaten.
Yes, thank God. He was annoying.
Oh, and then you say, so Scarlett Johansson takes the job because she's still feeling depressed over the fact that she lost, like, I don't know, did they mention that she was maybe fucking the guy that died, or I don't know. But she lost like
Yeah.
a soldier in the last mission, and then she wants to do this job as like the last job. So we've already got that trope, right? Um, but she I completely forgot where I was going with this. Um,
Ned, you're frozen. Oh no, or are you?
no, I
No,
was I was standing still. No, no, I was trying. I know I'm so stuck in thought. I was trying to figure out where I was going with this because she wants to do this as like the last final job. Oh,
Yeah.
but then she starts kind of falling for Jonathan Bailey, and Bailey is kind of like she sees. Now I know I'm extrapolating this from the screenplay because, folks, the actors don't really portray this, but she essentially kind of falls in love with the fact that he just loves science and dinosaurs, and he's just so like he's orgasming, like touching the dinosaurs and doing all of this stuff, and he's not afraid. Like he is afraid, but he's kind of not because he wants to see these things, and she kind of falls in love with that. And then he sells her on the idea of, well, they're going to use this DNA to solve all of these health problems and then repackage it and sell it to everybody at like exorbitant costs. So she sort of sells him on this idea of open sourcing the DNA so that other big pharma can just create it without a patent
Yeah.
and still sell it for a lot of money. So their whole idea is that instead of giving it to the rich guy, they're just going to make it open source and benefit the whole world. I didn't buy any
Force
of
it.
that.
They want to force it to be a generic so that it could be
Yeah.
cheap for
But
everybody.
but
Whatever.
I didn't buy any of that because she started the mission because she wanted all the money so she wouldn't have to ever do it again. And they're talking about it, and she literally says, "Well, in that scenario, I'm not rich. I just happen to be fulfilled because I saved the world."
She
She
feels like I think what they were trying to teleport again, why we're getting into the weeds in this Jurassic big dinosaurs rawr movie, but I think
Yeah.
what Kep was trying to say is that she is basically giving up everything that she's had to kind of, I think what she's trying to do is kind of repent for, she blames herself for her people dying in her. And this is kind of, at first she was like, I'm done. I'm so depressed because my people died because of me in this mission. I just want one last mission. I'm going to retire and drink myself to a stupor. Instead, now she sees a purpose for her life. This is almost like a repentance, like I'm going to do something good in exchange for this bad things that I've done in the past. So that's what I think it's supposed to be, some kind of a redemption storyline through dialogue that you were sleeping through and most of us were. So
Yeah, exactly.
but that was the
but
point,
also-
but it's not. Yeah.
But also, while I was
paid
watching
attention
this,
because she's gorgeous and I couldn't stop watching her. So
although I think Scarlett is a little in danger of becoming like the Tom Cruise. Like,
oh, she is
whenever
already.
it's like the strong action girl, it's always Black Widow, and that's sort of like forthright, like, hi, I just snuck in, tell me what you want. No, I'm not doing that. Yeah, exactly. But while I was watching this also, I got the whole like, well, there you go. Anyone who wants to say Hollywood's too liberal, like that whole message about like, forget big pharma, but forget the corporate. There is a big bad corporate America out there that wants to make money off of this stuff or whatever. And so, the sort of liberal message was kind of like, down with big corporate America or whatever, like use things for good. That was a little eye rolling, but it is what it is. But
Yeah, there's a lot of mixed messages in this movie politically. Why do we have a bunch of Latinx folks on a boat illegally in illegal
I don't
waters?
understand. They're in a
That's
boat
not
in
very
illegal
smart.
waters. No, it's not. It's not.
No.
But those legs, man, I cannot wait to own this DVD. I could not stop staring at that man's legs.
Yeah, he's attractive. He needs to be cast as the next Wolfman. If you're going to do another Wolfman movie, he should do it. He's got almost that face like when they made Ron Perlman into like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, he'd be great as a Wolfman, honestly.
You know what? He's so beautiful. Every time Scott loves that remake of the Magnificent Seven, but every time I come down and I'm like, ugh, I see Chris Pratt and I'm like, but then Manuel comes on screen and I'm like, hello.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah. I may need to start watching this Lincoln Lawyer thing. I don't know. Any other further thoughts on this?
Nope, I think
No.
we've touched on it. It's a mess, but hey, compared to the last two, it's better than them. And if you like big
Yeah.
dinosaurs, it's your only choice in theaters. So soft watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Soft watch it. There's a part of me that wants to go, one is great, then three, then two, then Jurassic World, and then this movie.
Then
Just
this.
forget about Domain and Fallen Kingdom. Like, just
And I might even put this ahead of World just because World is so, I don't know, it so much wants to be Jurassic Park 2.0 and it just bothers.
Yeah, it got bogged down a little bit. Although the
And
violence in it was kind of cool.
It's mean too. Like they kill that one, the way that that lady gets eaten, her assistant is just straight out mean.
I know, but man, that scene where they're all like scooping, like the pterodactyls are just grabbing people out. Anyway, we're
Yeah,
not here to
pretty
talk
wild.
about Jurassic World, but
We've talked
so
about every Jurassic
stop watching.
movie.
I know, pretty much. Oh wait, one last thing. So the Shades of E.T. The little girl who looks like Dora the Explorer, by the way, she ends up befriending this like baby dinosaur that
baby
follows her around. So she puts it in her
Triceratops.
little backpack, right? So it's like Gizmo or like fucking ET, and then it's always there. I don't know. I want to see the movie where that she takes that thing home and it grows big and then it eats sexy legs and then it goes on a like a rampage in the city. David Kep, we've written the next Jurassic
There you go.
World sequel for you.
We've got
Instead of
your gap
alligators, instead of alligators in the sewers, it's Triceratops baby in the sewers. We've got
There
it.
you
We've
go.
done it. So
Easy.
anywho. All right. So we got some pluses. Are we both going to plus the same thing?
No, I'm plussing Summer of Music, baby.
Do it. You go first.
Okay, well, again, summer 2025, Summer of Music. My plus is I took my daughters and my wife to see the Kesha Tits Out tour with Kesha and Kesha and Scissor Sisters and Slater.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. So basically, I've been talking about indie rock and I'm into hip hop. Why in the hell, old man, are you going to
Kesha.
a pop show that's got the three G's, the gays, the girls, and their guys? And I guess I'm the guys to my girls in this situation. So, but my daughter grew up on Kesha. I remember her being really too little to like it, but she just loved the Animal album, and I bought it for her when she was like 7. And we just listened to the hell out of that thing, and she loved it as a little girl. And we started introducing, now that Violet's 7, Kesha to her as the show. And some of the new songs are like bangers. If you haven't
Really?
heard them, like Joyride. Oh my God, Joyride is a gay club banger, man. I mean, it is just Joyride. I'm gonna take you on a Joyride. It is fantastic. Yeah, it's in the album. I guess I'll do both because she played almost the entire new album. The new album period is her first independent album, and this tour is her first independent tour. If you don't know, she went through, gosh, like a decade plus battle with her old producer manager, Dr. Luke.
Yeah.
I'm on her side. I know there's other people that, defamation of character, that was settled out of court, whatever. No, fuck Dr. Luke.
Katy Perry's on his side.
Fuck. I am Team Kesha 110%. And while her first couple albums, she kind of did this thing where she sounded like this, and that's how she sang her songs, and it was it. Now she's kind of changed. It's like she went to vocal school and she actually learned to sing over the last decade. And if you didn't know, she's released 3 albums since everything went down. She released her first couple albums in the early 2010s, and then everything stopped. The sexual allegations. There was a There was a really cool TV show that was kind of behind the scenes of her that me and my wife and daughter watched at the time, where she was definitely into drugs and she was trying to break away from Dr. Luke. I think it was on VH1. And then she ends up through going through this 10 years of pretty much not very much music going out. She did release an album when she finally got out of her contract called Rainbow, which is a throwback to Stevie Nicks sound, really kind of what Miley Cyrus is doing now. If you've listened to Miley's new stuff, kind of that I am feminist, I am taking on the whole Stevie Nicks dramatic vibe of pop music. But this,
more.
she's gotten back to her big, loud, fun party sound. But it also is emotional because this is her, freedom. This is about her going back to who she always has wanted to be and actually finally having freedom to say and do and perform how she wants to perform. So this wasn't the big, her up there rapping silly TikTok and with a bunch of gays and rainbows and unicorns. This was a very serious, dramatic 4-part performance where she basically sings 4 or 5 songs in each act that are kind of chronological into her life, from her party days to thinking she's in love with her producer and realizing, no, I'm actually getting manipulated and harassed. And then her breaking through that and her new music. And yeah, it was just a fantastic show. Now, we were the first stop in the tour, so there were big gaps in between each act, which I hope she tightens those up. In between each, like 4 or 5 songs, we get this big, just kind of bland 4-minute gap. It's like,
I mean, was she talking or anything? Was there a deep?
I think it was just like music kind of playing in the background, and then they're just switching stage. And I think it was just the first show. Again, this is independently produced, exactly with her own money. Everything was on her. And overall, besides those timing issues, and it started late, we had to leave a little bit early before all of the last couple songs because the daughter was tired. But man, she really can sing. She can put on a performance, and she really has brought her vocals up, and she can dance. And there was this whole theme. It starts with her coming out with it looked like her holding her own head, like bloody in her hand, like a fake prosthetic of her head, like killing off her old self and becoming her own new self. So really cool show. Lots of fun colors. I mean, all of our gay friends were out. It was just nothing but love. The crowd was sold out, packed to the limit. And it was just girls and gays and fun. And Scissor Sisters, I don't know if you know them. They were, I miss Slater, but I hear she's very much like Kesha, does that same type of pop music that she did. This girl's also in her 20s. What we could hear, it sounded fun, very much like Kesha, and they do a song together. That's a lot of fun. But I really wanted to see Scissor Sisters. I've been a fan of theirs ever since. Want to take your mother out all night and I'll show her what it's all about. They had through this album. It was like a big, that first album is like, hey, this is like what Elton John would have made if he was out and proud. It's a big gay Elton John album. And that's what the first Scissor Sisters album was. Then they became more just fun, but it felt like you were watching a big gay cabaret show during their performance. Had 9 or 10 folks on stage, just hamming it up, having a blast, and singing all the classics from Let's Have a Kiki to Take Your Mama Out and Lara. And yeah, so I don't know. If you're like me and you're raising a liberal family and you enjoy pop music and you enjoy seeing your daughters happy, go see this. If you're a gay or a girl, this should be on your must-go-to tour because it is totally made for you. But even if you're a straight dad like me, go and have fun. I had a blast with the show. The female that he added into the group during the Kiki days, she was there. There was somebody in drag. I don't know all the names. Yeah. But I loved that first album. For me, that first album was huge. I thought it was a lot of fun. And dumb me, when I bought it, I didn't even know that was they were a big gay band. I didn't even know what a Scissor Sister meant when I bought it. I was a dumb Mormon boy. But I didn't know I was buying a big gay album. But it ended up being something that I really loved. It's the closest thing to a big gay Elton John album that you can get, that first album of theirs. But yeah, they played most of that, and I'm not as familiar with their stuff after that, but it was fun.
Yeah, I remember when somebody hipped me to what Scissor Sisters really meant, and I was like, oh.
No, you're
Um,
like, whoa.
Whoa. But Kesha, I love Kesha. She sang backup for like Britney and stuff. I think that's how she was discovered, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
she was a songwriter. I think she wrote stuff for Britney and wrote stuff for Flo Rida. And then
yep.
she did some backup vocals on one of his songs is how she started. But she's
But I
fun. I mean,
remember um she she did a cut on The Greatest Showman Revisited. She
oh,
sang This Is Me with
oh,
Missy
okay.
Elliott, and she's
Oh, I bet she
really
was good.
great. Really great. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
her
exciting.
voice has gotten way better than it was 15 years ago. If you're just judging her on TikTok and We Are Who We Are, yeah, you need to listen to some of the new music because she's actually matured, became a really
Yeah.
good artist. Yeah.
Nice. Um, okay, so my plus is I edited out a lot of this from the last episode, but basically on the last episode, I was ragging on John Horgan from And Now for something a little bit different because he was championing F1, which I was determined to shit on. And
Me too.
so I had sort of excised a large amount of me talking about why I don't think Joseph Kosinski. It's not that he's not a good director. He is a fantastic director and a visual storyteller. I'm just not entirely sold on whether or not he's the full package as a director, um, just in terms of writing or contributing to some of the writing and a full vision. Like he's the visuals as a director, he's got it. But I'm still not sold on that. And the reason why is, well, first of all, let me just mention I did finally see F1. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski. Joseph Kosinski directed Tron Legacy as well as Top Gun Maverick. He's also done the Netflix film Spiderhead and then Oblivion for Tom Cruise, another Tom Cruise film that he had done, as well as I think the film is called, is it Only the Brave, about mountain firefighters. And so when I look at those films, what I see is, at least with respect to Tron Legacy and Top Gun Maverick, is someone who has simply just repackaged and duplicated the first film. I felt that about Tron Legacy. I felt that about Top Gun Maverick. I know everybody loves Top Gun Maverick. I just thought it was deja vu, and I'm not as high on it as many are. Oblivion, I didn't realize this, and I guess I'm kind of kicking myself for this, but I thought it was based on a graphic novel. But it is based on a comic book that was never published, but it was a comic book that he actually helped to write.
Oh,
Now, Only the Brave was based on the true story of these firefighters. And so my feeling is that Kaczynski simply just takes a really, really great idea that's been done before and then just repackages it. So it is no surprise to hear that Kaczynski was attached to Gran Turismo and that he, in fact, had done a bunch of pre-development, pre-production on it, but departed ways with the studio over creative differences. So I am not surprised. Also, this film, F1, is produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. Jerry Bruckheimer, with Don Simpson, formed Simpson Bruckheimer, and they were behind films like Flashdance and One Days of Thunder. And so, Joe Kosinski, Gran Turismo, Days of Thunder, Jerry Bruckheimer, swapping out Tom Cruise for Brad Pitt. I'm just like, look, okay, he knows the formula, but
yeah.
is he really a good director? Well, color me fucking surprised because this film is actually written by another gentleman named Aaron Kruger, Ehren Kruger. Very good looking guy, by the way. Very good looking. Wondering if he has sexy legs like Manuel. But anyway,
Or feet.
the thing or feet. The thing about Aaron Kruger is that he is very hit or miss with his screenplays. When he's on, he's on. And I'm looking at like the American remake of The Ring. I'm looking at The Skeleton Key, which basically is an American J horror film. I'm looking at his script for Reindeer Games. I know people hate that fucking movie. I kind of dug it. But then he does things like Scream 3 and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. So again, when I see Aaron Kruger's name on something, I'm like, ugh, this could go bad. But color me surprised. This one was really entertaining. It does not need to be 2 hours and 35 minutes. It is completely predictable. But man, is this thing ever interesting and compelling? Brad Pitt looks like a million fucking bucks, and I think this is one of his best performances like ever. He's great. Damson Idris, I don't know where I've seen him from. I did not research him, but he's really, really great. There's shades of their relationship, like the shades of their relationship of the relationship in Gran Turismo. You can't get past that.
Yep.
Okay.
Nope.
Also, there is like what's his face? He's so beautiful. Javier Bardem plays his friend who owns this racing outfit, and that guy is kind of like an analog for the David Harbour character in Gran Turismo, as well as Robert Duvall in Days of Thunder. And then there's a woman who comes in, right? I think Nicole Kidman was like a psychologist or something, right? I can't remember. But Carrie Condon, who I absolutely adore. I love her accent. I think she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Like, I might defect for her, folks. Throw away the gay. But she plays the first female like tech woman leading like a race team. And unfortunately, and this is another criticism of Kosinski, he's a big man's man. All of the female characters in Kosinski films, they get underplayed severely. Monica Barbaro and Jennifer Connelly in Top Gun Maverick, plot points. They don't get the screen time like the men did. What's her face? She's so beautiful. She was in Possessor, in Oblivion. She's just the voice to Tom Cruise, okay? And in this one, the Carrie Condon role, he had such a great opportunity to explore women in a man-dominated sport like that. And in fact, there is a subplot with another woman breaking into the industry and the travails that she has to go through. But does any of that come of that? No, nothing. She's just a plot point. He gets to fuck her. The other girl, they just resolve her thing. I think she fucked the black guy too. I don't know, but
it seemed like it.
Yeah. And so, there's some problems with the story. There's a late in the game villain who's unveiled, and that just sort of was like, now you want to give us a fucking villain. But man, is it ever compelling? I don't know shit about Formula One racing or downdrafts and let's do the thing and the air and the what. But you know what? I loved it. It was like Moneyball. I knew nothing about statistics or baseball, and I love that movie. F1 really is a crowd pleaser. It might change my mind about Joe Kosinski. It might, but man, it didn't feel like 2 hours and 35 minutes. It really didn't. I was very surprised. Also, Kosinski very much, he feels like a grittier Spielberg, right? He knows mass entertainment, he knows commercial, but he has also stolen Kubrick's sort of sensibility in terms of proscenium and this sort of like clean aesthetic. Like, a lot of his production design is very spare. It's always just focusing on the actors and the emotions and stuff like that. So it's an interesting aesthetic. It's an aesthetic that followed him from Oblivion all the way through Tron Legacy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what Kosinski does next. Please don't let it be a reboot of something. If you look it up, he's been attached to a bunch of remakes or reboots. At one point, he was supposed to do Twisters as well. And I'm like, can this man find some original idea of his own to do? Like, stop. So that's why I'm maybe not sold, but F1 is a crowd pleaser. Please go see it. I surprised myself. I was ready to hate fuck it with my eyes, and I didn't. I fucked it with my eyes.
I felt the same way as you did. I loved the hell out of it. I thought it was a great time. I bawled my eyes out. I totally got sucked into it. I got sucked up into it. And that's what makes him a good director. I mean, he takes all these cliches, all of these things we've seen done a million times before, puts them in a blender with just the right amount of ingredients, and you're like an Orange Julius, but kind of better.
I know, and the right amount of suspense to it, and all of it, and it's like you almost forget the tropes and the predictability.
Oh, there's so
it's
many
just-
of it. So
because
much
it's
trope.
just so compelling. The other thing is the director of photography is Claudio Miranda. I love him. They have collaborated on a bunch of movies, Kosinski, but he's such a great visualist. They got to, I'm so jealous. They got to, not that I'm a DP or anything, okay, but they got to test out the new Sony Venice 3. It has
New
not
camera,
been released. They tested it out as a prototype. The movie looks great. It looks really great.
The race sequences are
Oh my
mind-blowing,
god!
brother.
And
Oh.
they mounted cameras on these race cars, and then they would just flip them around. So like you would see the race, and then it would suddenly flip around to their faces and the emotions. Really great filmmaking.
Yeah, it was insane. It was really good. Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
almost disappointed I didn't get to hate fuck it. So
Sorry, John, we talked so much crap off.
yeah,
off
John, you
air
were
about
right.
it. You
were right. It was really good.
It was really good.
All
We were
right.
both wrong. It was really good. We have
Wah,
to be-
wah. What are we doing next week? Is it the Superman?
Da, 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 da.
Look up.
Look up. Yes.
By the way, did I ever tell you? Did I say this before on the show? But I had to
No.
chuckle at those posters that say "Look up," because I kind of feel like they're kind of saying, "Stop staring at his underwear and his package. Look up." You know what I'm saying? Because it's like him like this, and it says "Look up." And I'm kind of like, I want to look. Are those sexy legs? Anyway,
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, this is a big weekend next week. Holy cow! Is James Gunn gonna pull it off?
I don't know,
Who
but
knows predicting where it's gonna make? It's between like there's $100 million discrepancy depending on who's guessing what this is gonna make.
I know, but I will remind everyone that industry pundits thought that Megan 2.0 was gonna rule over F1. So like the weather, you just never know.
You don't
By the way,
know.
that joke is probably in poor taste given the recent whatever, but
sad. You're right.
I know. By the way, please Google James Gunn. Some people will take offense at my new Superman, and check out that article. Okay, so if you love us, you will certainly love our Podfathers, The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema, and Not a Bomb. They have inspired us. You will also love Night of the Living Podcast, Wild Dream Podcast, Death by DVD, Raiders of the Podcast. Are we going to get Tyler on? We need to. I think John has had Tyler on. So
We
now
need to
that
have
he's-
him on.
we need to, now that he's the pass around guest, we need to get on the pass arounding. Backlook
Well, he
Cinema
loves-
Podcast.
He loves Rebel Moon as much as you do. You two are the only people I know in our whole space that loves those movies. You two.
I want to deep. Where are my Blu-ray copies of the director's cuts? Zach, get on this, please. Your fans are waiting for you. You'll love Backlook Cinema with Podcast with Zoe, and now for something a little bit different, Caliber 9 from Outer Space. We need to get Joe on now because we've had
Yeah,
the
we
Rob.
do.
We need the Joe. And then Feminine Critique, Talk Without Rhythm with Goro. Mike, parting thoughts.
As I say, continue to get out there, enjoy live music if you have the chance. Get out there, see plays, see music, see theater, and get to the movies. Enjoy your summer.
Save exhibition. You know, they're still saying we might not have theaters in like 10 years. Come on, folks. Save exhibition, save physical media. You can take my Blu-rays from my cold, dead hands. But also remember, please be kind, be vulnerable, be open. That's where the art is. And we will see you next week without kryptonite, please, for
Yes.
Superman. Yes. Oh my God. I don't know.
Okay, we
Corn
did it.
Sweat is super fucking hot. I read this
He's-
article where Nick Holt was saying that like he and his wife were talking about how Nick Holt is so tall and he never has somebody bigger to like hug him. So apparently he showed up on set and asked David Cornsweat to hug him. So he knew what it felt like to have somebody bigger, like, you know, hold them in his space. And he was like, it was really good. I was like, are you coming out? Like, what? Why would you say that to an interviewer?
Nicholas Hoult he's perfect for this role. I'm excited to see him as Luther.
I am too, but
Yeah.
you know, I really love Jesse Eisenberg as Luther. When he shoved that Jolly Rancher into that old man's mouth, I was like, oh my God, I love Jesse so much. In Batman versus Superman, do you remember that? Anyway.
Yes, I do actually. I've seen that movie a lot more than I should have.
Oh my God, I've seen it 8 million times. I love the director's cut, Batman versus Superman. I fucking
Yeah,
love
I like the director's cut a lot. I like the director's cut of that and the black and white version of the Justice League a lot.
it. Oh
Actually.
my God. I might go watch that now, actually.
That's really fucking good.